Thank you for having me here. I'm quite well. I'm in Alicante, Spain, so it's a week of celebrations in this town. I'm
Okay,
glad to
great.
be here in this meeting with you.
Thank you. Yes, San João is also a celebrity here in Brazil. So yeah,
Mhm.
and I hope you enjoy the festivities and the fireworks that there are there.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Mhm.
sure. So Fernando, if we can start with the interview, I wanted to ask you the first question, which will be how someone who knows you really well, Fernando, and admire you, will describe who is Fernando.
Well, admiring is too much of a word in this case, I guess. I don't know. Perhaps dedicated, uh,
Uh-huh.
trying always to search for the next problem to solve.
Okay, great.
I love being faced to difficult problems and trying to find the best solution for them. That's what
All
drives me.
right, nice. Yes, actually, I read your profile in your website, and I found really interesting. Well, we will go back to that later about
Mhm,
the period of the democracy in Spain and how you became stronger and this.
mhm.
But before going into that, I wanted to ask you another question, yes, which will be if you could wake up, Fernando, anywhere in the world tomorrow, what it will be?
That's a very difficult question because I enjoy many different places worldwide where I really
Hmm.
feel at home,
Yes,
and they are very different from each other. So I could
yes.
say Denpasar in Bali perhaps is a good place to wake up, but also
Bali.
Seattle. I really enjoy Seattle, or
All right.
Milan, or
Okay.
Alicante. Why not? Alicante is a great place to be as well.
Okay, great. Yes. Yeah, I saw that you travel a lot and you don't have like a favorite place, or if you had to choose one or from all of them, which one will be?
Every place is very different. I don't think I like one place in particular over every place I've been.
All right. Okay.
Um, but as I said, those few cities I mentioned before, those are places I really enjoy. But I
Nice.
enjoy London a lot, for instance,
All
and I
right.
enjoy Madrid, and,
Madrid is good.
and,
Yes.
and even Sao Paulo as well,
São Paulo as well, eh? All right. You
right?
were very
Yeah,
well traveled. I'm in Fortaleza. I'm in the northeast
yeah,
of
I know.
Brazil.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay.
I've been in Sao
But
Paulo many times,
okay, good. I
and
don't know for São Paulo yet. I heard it's
every
good.
place is every place has something special, and I like
Definitely.
to appreciate those beautiful things that each place has to offer.
All right. Fair enough. No, definitely. I agree with you. I've been also in some places in the world. It has something everywhere. Yes.
Mhm.
So yeah. Okay.
Mostly the people. What makes
Mo
a place enjoyable is the people.
Definitely. I totally agree with you. Now I'm here in Fortaleza, Brazil, and the Brazilian people, at least here, are really friendly, and it's very easy to make friends.
Mhm.
And I found something like this also in Glasgow, in Scotland. Yeah, I don't know if you've been there.
Scotland, yeah, I've been in Glasgow as well. We
Uh,
somehow Scotland is the
yes,
Latin part of Britain,
yes, I will
right?
say.
It's very
Yeah,
Latin, very
it's the
Latin.
opposite like in Spain. It's the opposite.
Absolutely,
I always found that. Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and in Brazil also it's the same. It's similar.
By the
Okay,
way,
great.
Edinburgh, for instance, is a beautiful place to be as well.
Definitely, it is. It is. I love it. I love it. It's magical. It's like, ghost kind of thing, and castles or
Very
kind of thing.
unique, very unique.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right. My next question, personal one, it will be, maybe this is a difficult one. If I ask you, what was the happiest or best moment in your life? Which one or which is the first memory that comes to your mind, Fernando?
It's difficult to say, but I'll say for sure the
Hmm.
day I married my wife.
All right, cool. I like that. The day
Sure.
you marry, eh?
Then after that, we enjoy three daughters and three grandkids,
All right,
and each one of those moments where each one of them were born were very special to me as well. But
all right.
definitely, I feel very lucky that I was able to marry my wife 40 years ago,
40 years
and
ago.
that and
Yeah.
after 40 years we still love each other very much. I'm still
Congratulations for
planning to
that.
spend lots of years ahead of us.
Congratulations, Fernando. That's beautiful, and it's not the common right now, as you probably know.
It's not very common, but in a case,
Yeah.
I feel blessed by that. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Something to feel very blessed, definitely. Thank you for sharing that. And now we're going to the interview and about getting to know your experience and all your main lessons learned
Hmm.
about your business, about your work-life balance. Yes.
Hmm.
So the first one will be about what is the last message you will leave in the world if you were to die tomorrow, Fernando?
I'll say treat everybody with respect,
Okay.
right? Because every person deserves respect and trust. And I know that sometimes people will do something wrong and you'll feel that cheated on you, but
Mm-hmm.
it's really worth it to
Mm,
respect other people and to trust them because
yes.
most of the time you get a lot good out of it.
Uh-huh. Yes. It reminds me to something I read recently that, yeah, I think it was a Steve Jobs interview, something that he said, trust some people and give them time, because they can surprise you.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It is true. It is true.
Yeah, I like that. I like that because eventually people can change and they can improve. And sometimes we go in reaction mode and judge very quickly and react in a bad way, but later, it's not such a big deal. All right, thank you for sharing that. I wanted now because I read your profile on your website, which is beautifully written, by the way, and I like
Thank
the
you.
the way you read it. No, seriously, I really enjoy it.
I have
Uh,
my website very lost. I didn't touch it for several years. I need to
but
find some time to update it.
yeah, sure. The history is the history. So I wanted to ask you, this moment I felt like, okay, what happened there? Yeah. It's about the Spanish history, how you lived it. And I would love to know about this, the turbulent period that you talk about, the democracy that
Mhm.
changed the way you see life, or how it make you stronger. So I wanted to see if you could share that with us, please.
Well, I was just a teenager when
Okay.
the dictator was still ruling Spain, Franco. I
Mm-hmm.
was 17, 16 years old when he died, right?
16,
And
okay. Uh-huh.
the year after is when I moved to university. And those first 2 years in university were lots of troubles everywhere, right? The police running the streets, people in demonstrations all the time, and right
All right.
wing fighting left wing on the streets. It was
Mm,
very difficult. But at the same time,
mm,
um, something I learned from those times, and I think it was a lesson for all of us, for not only in Spain but also elsewhere, is that it is possible to get people together from different mentalities and different points of view and build something together. At that time,
mm.
it has to be made a big effort in the community in Spain to build a society where the Communist Party could speak to the right wing party and to the central parties and still build a constitution together where nobody actually won. Everybody lost a little bit, right? But overall, we all won
Uh-huh.
because that constitution made us better. And I can tell you, at those years, it was not clear at all. People were fearing that perhaps we were back to a civil war again because the extremists
Mm.
in both sides of the spectrum were speaking in a way like they couldn't stand each other. They couldn't survive in the same country with each other. But the reality is, most of
Uh-huh.
the people wanted peace. Most of the people wanted to move forward and forget about the past. Learn a little bit about the past, but move forward. And everybody made concessions. Everybody made compromises.
Uh-huh.
And in the end, the constitution that we
Sure.
built nearly 40 years ago is still there. We're still using it and still working,
Yes.
and it's still serving as the basis for the community. So I think from those years, it taught me that despite that some people might have a different opinion than you, there's always something to learn from that person. And there's always something to
Hmm.
understand from his point of view. So that's something that sometimes you get me, my wife get mad at me sometimes because I tend to place myself on the shoes of the other person too much, right? And perhaps
Mm,
this is something that honestly makes me a bad negotiator because I
mm,
typically try to understand the position of the other person so we can have a
uh-huh.
better agreement that can be better for both parties. Sometimes they appreciate
Sure.
that, sometimes they don't, right? But I think it's better than that everybody try to understand the position of each other so we can
Sure,
better learn
definitely.
how to move forward together.
Hmm. Very good, very good. I love that lesson learned. It's about empathy, basically,
Yeah,
and putting your in the other person's shoes, and to see how and how we can have a win-win situation. Yes,
exactly.
and everybody win. Love it, love it. Thank you. And you were young. You were very young to have this lesson learned. So, yeah, I
Well,
guess.
yes, I was working already at that time, so I was not only a student.
Sure.
Um, at first, I was working mostly holidays, weekends, try to help to pay for my education. I'm the first kid of a family of six,
All right.
so
Okay.
and I really enjoy working. Only it was not only because my family needed it. It was okay to give some help in that regard, but mostly because I enjoyed working as well, not only studying.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so it's
Sure,
somehow when you are the first kid of a big family, you mature quicker, perhaps,
sure.
than you are
Uh,
right there in the middle, right? You feel
yes,
more responsibilities, and
I was going
perhaps
to
it's
say
something
that.
like this. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
probably.
All right. How do you think this young age, working and having this experience before college, has influenced you later on in your life, Fernando?
Well, it's been a big influence from different point of view. I learned positive things, I learned negative things as well. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Not everything was nice and during those years.
Sure.
Very early, I tried to build uh, my own life out of scratch while I was
Uh-huh.
still a student. So I couldn't have a good CV to prove my
Mm-hmm.
value. And
Okay.
I remember those years, 78, 79, in Spain, they were very, very, very trouble. Um, People were offering very difficult jobs. I mean, not difficult from the point of view of how to execute them, but difficult in terms of conditions, working conditions.
Mm.
They were treating you as slaves. And I remember uh, having very difficult time trying to earn my living during those years.
Okay.
So that teaches
Uh-huh.
you how to appreciate the work that other people do. And
Mm.
something I promise myself is never treat any employee in the same way that some people treated me back then.
Mm.
And
Wow.
that
That
was,
gave me some goosebumps,
yeah,
so I don't know how to call that in English. Yes.
yeah, but
Okay.
it's true. They were very, very difficult years, and I can tell you, I had very difficult time. And I
Yes.
could get back to my parents, and I'm sure they would take care of me. But
Sure.
I was very proud. I wanted to build my life for myself, and that
That's really
gave
good.
me some troubles in the way. But you learn from the troubles as well.
Okay. Great. Great. Thank you so much. That I think changed your mindset from very young age.
Yeah,
And I was wondering, this is maybe a bit out for the interview, but looking now how the world is developing and my generation and even young generation Z, which is like my brother's generation, younger brother one, which is like 18, 19, this we don't know about war or well now the Ukraine one, but I mean, the things that you have struggled, my parents as well, and all these struggles, we are not aware of these things, yeah. So but still, we think, or we take everything for granted, let's say. So
Mhm.
what would you say to our generation, to younger ones, about life, that could help them to, take risks, and to make a good life?
Well, it's funny you asked this question because I remember speaking about something like this with my father last weekend,
Okay, great.
and it's interesting that his grandfather, so my great grandfather,
Okay.
his main message to his kids and grandkids were always the same message: was try to get as much education as you could. Right?
Okay, wow.
I'm talking about 80 years ago, right? And that was
How many
exactly the same
years?
message. I mean, 80 years ago or 70
uh,
years ago.
yes,
That was
yes, okay.
exactly the same message that my father gave us 50 years ago, 60 years ago, right? It's
Uh-huh.
exactly the same message that I always give my daughters. And you cannot have enough education, right?
Uh-huh.
There's
I love
always
that.
education, education, education. But at the same
Hmm.
time, education by itself alone is not enough. That's something as well, something that my great grandfather used to tell
Hmm.
to his kids at the time. I didn't know him. I never met him.
Uh-huh,
He
sure.
died before I was born.
Uh-huh.
But he was a very clever person, a very intelligent person. He told them that whatever you do, whatever work you had to do in your life, just
Yes.
try to be the best. Try to do it
Mm.
in the best possible way, right? And that goes beyond education. Obviously, if you have a good education, that helps you. First, it
Hmm.
helps you to get a better job, right?
Hmm.
But then it gives you more tools to do that job better, right? But the pride of doing something great
Hmm.
is something that until you know it, until you test it by yourself, right?
Hmm.
You don't know how great that is.
All right,
So,
great. So.
and I know that being a young person is difficult sometimes to look at the future and say, well, I studied so many years, I don't have a work yet, or they offer me bad jobs that don't make any sense. But you are 30 years old or 20 something years old. You still have 40 or 50 years ahead of you. There's plenty of time to do more things, to do new things, and you'll change career many times. And the
Definitely.
the better the education you have, the better tool you have to move around your life, your professional life during all those years.
Hmm. Totally agree with you, Fernando. So it was whatever you try to do the best or be the best. What was the lesson there?
Um, be the best in terms of competition
Hmm.
doesn't make much sense because what do you mean
Yes.
being the best? Be the best in your town or in your
Yeah, that's right.
neighborhood or in your country, in the world.
Hmm.
Obviously, you try to be the best, and you use that as an incentive for yourself to do it.
That,
It's great.
that,
But the best can only be one, right? Who measures that? It's impossible.
yes,
So try
definitely.
to do it the best you could, right?
Yeah,
It's the
definitely.
first step.
Try to. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, try
Yeah,
your
exactly.
best, and give everything.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Thank you, Fernando, for sharing that. And in terms of education, and and following your grandfather's or great grandfather's lessons, or teachings, yeah, let's say, and also your father's and now yours. How are you educating or keep educating yourself right now, or how are you learning now?
Well, I think I never stopped learning.
Sure,
Um, at
I can
first,
imagine.
yeah, I was eager to learn about mathematics and geometry very early because my father is used to be a surveyor,
Okay.
and I wanted to learn about that as soon as possible. And my father taught me for the trigonometry and surveying very early on when I was
Okay.
12, 13 years old, 14 years old,
Uh-huh.
because I was eager to learn.
Uh-huh.
Then, obviously, when I moved up to college and I started to learn about to be a civil engineer, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. Let's say I didn't. pay as much attention to the university education as I should at that time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It was not bad. I mean, I didn't have bad degrees back then, but at first it took me years to complete my engineering degree
All
because
right.
distracted with work. And I was actually my first dedication was work because I had to
Mm-hmm.
pay for my life, so I
Sure.
couldn't dedicate to study everything I could. And honestly, in Spain, civil engineering studies are not designed for part-time dedication.
Mm.
Back then, it was a
Especially in the
six-year
past.
degree,
Yeah,
right? It
especially
was
in the
6 years
past, I would say.
degree, and that required
Mm.
full-time dedication for sure. I couldn't dedicate that much,
Mm.
so it took me years to do that. And eventually, I moved to a different side of a different type of degree. So
Uh-huh.
it's called engineering for civil works,
Uh-huh.
something different. But I never actually did work on that area
Yes.
because computing got me right away the first year I arrived to college.
Uh-huh.
And then,
Nice.
but I was a self-learner in computing for many, many years. So every
Mm.
time there was a new version, a new language, a new tool, I wanted to learn about that. And
Okay.
I was teaching myself um, for many years until I became a teacher of computer-related issues like database programming,
Uh-huh.
database administration, etc. When I
Ah,
moved
nice.
to England, but until that time, I was just learning by myself. And since then, I've been continuing learning by myself. Actually, now
Mm-hmm.
I'm enrolled in a PhD degree for computer science, which
Okay,
I
well.
hope to finish next year. But there was, so I keep learning because I think it's natural life.
All right, great. Definitely, yes. So now you are a PhD or you are taking a PhD in computer science, yeah? You're
Yeah,
still following your passion
yeah,
about
yeah.
this.
Actually, yes.
All right, great. So I guess
We,
that's
we
what,
have a term. We
yes,
have a term for we call it chusquero. Um,
Chusquero.
that I think that term was used long ago when people used to go to the army
All right,
compulsory, right? Because you
okay.
had to do you had to spend like a year or something in the army
Uh-huh.
uh, when you were young. And
Family
so
thing.
some people move up from being a standard soldier to be a sergeant
All
after
right,
many, many, many years, not
yes.
by following the standard education to be a professional soldier, but just
Uh-huh.
because you spend many years in the army. So they call
Uh,
chusquero. Chusco is a piece of bread, right? It's
all
like a piece
right,
of bread.
okay.
So sometimes I describe myself as a computing chusquero, something like this, because I learned computing due to work for many, many years and not by
Uh,
formal education in computer engineering. This is the
uh,
first time, the first attempt to
all right.
actually follow a formal education in computer engineering.
I love that. I love that, Chusquero. I make a point in the interview notes later on. I love this word. And this is from Valencia, Alicante, or is a general term in Spain?
I think it's general term in Spain, not applying the same sense,
Uh-huh.
perhaps.
Sure.
But
Uh-huh.
yes,
Uh-huh.
so this type of professionals that have been made by themselves through many
Hmm.
years of experience
Okay.
is called in a superiority way. So it's not like
Okay.
a
Okay.
nice way to describe them, but I find that funny for myself. I can
Yes.
call it myself the way I want, so why not?
Chusquero, Fernando, el
Exactly,
Chusquero.
no problem.
I like it. Okay, thank you so much. Yes, I wanted to ask you now the following question, Fernando. When you think of successful, a person that is successful, who comes to your mind?
A person, when I find someone who really loves what he does,
Wow.
right,
Okay.
or enjoys life by doing what he likes, then that's a successful person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you can find that type of person in many different places. So not necessarily from a financial point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? I met great teachers who's clear that they were loved so much to teach that it didn't matter if they did it for I don't know for a salary or not. They will do it
Mm,
anyway, right?
yes. Yes. All right. Very good.
And I remember I was once in Quito, Ecuador, we
Hmm.
were presenting an offer for the Ecuadorian government. It was 98, yeah, 1998. And after we presented the project, etc., we went to have dinner that night. And my
Uh-huh.
boss, an engineer, Spanish engineer that was there with us, he
Yes.
asked me, say, Fernando, how come we had to pay you a salary when it's clear that you have so much fun doing this work? And I
That's
told him, look,
nice.
please keep paying my salary. I need it for work, right? I need it for life. But it's true. So if you can tell, sometimes, like you mentioned before, Steve Jobs, clearly
Yeah,
he was a person who enjoyed his work, right?
definitely. And also
So
a
regardless
self-learner,
of having
Well, so
exactly,
I like the similarity with you, yeah. Hmm.
exactly. So it didn't matter. I'm sure it didn't matter for him so much how many shares of Apple he owned, how much
Yes,
money he had in the bank. He
yes,
loved his work, right?
yes,
But
yes,
you can find the same type of person in a bakery because you see when someone describes his bread, the different type
yes.
of bread you can buy there and how they prepare it, it's clear
Uh,
that that person loves his work, right?
we
Or
need
waiter
more
in the restaurant.
chusqueros, eh, Fernando?
Exactly. People really loves their work, really love their work,
Yes, yes,
regardless of their degrees, regardless of their financial position. They really
totally.
love their work, and that's a
Uh-huh.
person that I really admire.
All right. Thank you so much. I respect that. I respect that, and I think the world needs more people like that, more chusqueros and more job lovers. Yeah, that they love
Well,
their and they follow their passions.
careful with that. You tell people you call someone Chusquero, they might not take it good. Right? So be
It's
careful.
just between us.
Be
It's just
careful with that.
between us, Fernando. It's okay. It's okay.
Be careful with that.
Yes. We are getting to the end of the interview, so I wanted to ask you another question. Which is about mentors. Yeah, or someone who has a big influence in your life. I wanted to
Mhm.
know how he did or she did influence in your life.
Well, I had several mentors in my life from different points of view and in different moments of my life.
Uh-huh.
My father was a big mentor, obviously. He taught me very early on about the quality of work, the satisfaction of doing something right,
Mm-hmm.
and also to take care of details, right? Very much. So, in that, I'm still using his learnings today, right?
Mm.
But then the professor that was my boss in the university when I was teaching in the university back in the 80s.
Yes.
He was a great influence as well. Not only because his knowledge was a lot, but the way he treated everybody with deep respect.
Mm.
Right? He was a big person from an academic point of view, but
Mm-hmm.
he treated all of us with lots of respect and gave us lots of chances to improve and to
Mm.
be better professionals. And
Okay.
so that was a big influence. And then later, on the first, not the first, the second company I created with another, with two partners. And one of
Yes.
them is a great entrepreneur. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and he taught me a lot about business, about how to run a business, how to manage finance, and lots of things, really. So
All right.
it was a great mentor as well in my early stages as an entrepreneur, an innovator.
Okay.
And after that, I have many, but
Those are
I'm
the
old.
three. Those are
I'm
the
old, so
top
I have
three.
the time. Yeah, those
Those
are
are the
we
top three.
probably the top three. Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love it. And now it's just we have 1 minute left. So, Fernando, what impactful message will you leave to entrepreneurs and startups as based on your experience?
Oof, that's a difficult question, very difficult question,
Hmm.
because it's not um, there's no clear answer for that.
All right.
Uh, First, I'll say you have to follow your passion, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to invest in something you are passionate about. no question about that. You have to be passionate about what you do, because
Uh-huh.
there will be lots of difficulties along the way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But also be prepared for the worst, because the worst
Okay.
might happen. So you have to take care about many different things that you might not be passionate about in order to have a successful business.
Yes.
And you are not an expert on everything. You need to be surrounded by the right people
Mm-hmm.
who will cover you on those areas that you're not expert on.
All
And
right.
yet, things can go wrong, right? And if
All
they
right.
do, you have to be as honest as possible with everybody around you,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
right? And make sure that you don't cheat on anybody, and you be as transparent as possible through the entire process, regardless of whether you are successful or you fail.
Mm-hmm. 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 I
And
love it.
if things go bad, well, move to the next project.
Definitely. Like Steve Jobs, he found the next
Exactly.
after
Say,
Apple.
yeah. Say, yeah. Say, well,
I
sometimes
think
you win, sometimes you learn, right?
that's right. There is no loss. Never.
Exactly.
Very good. Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure, Fernando, to interview you. Is there anything else you would like to leave with us, or we can call it off?
Oh, thank you, Josie. It was a great experience. I hope that you enjoy the interview,
I love it.
and I don't
I
know.
love it. Yeah.
When someone is old, I understand why in my youth, my family and my parents always taught me to respect the elderly people.
Yes,
And
definitely.
if there's something I really miss, is to have spent more time with my grandparents,
Mm,
because they
yes,
really have lots of things to teach you.
definitely, definitely.
And I hope to have time to dedicate to my grandkids.
Mm, beautiful, definitely. They will be lucky. They will be very lucky, Fernando, to learn from you. You are full of wisdom for
I'll learn
sure.
from them. I'll learn from them as well, for sure.
It's both. It's both. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
like
It's a
reverse
dual learning
mentoring.
process. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Fernando. So we leave it like this. Thank you so much for your time and your valuable lessons learned that you share with us. And yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Talk
Josie.
to you next